What do you get when you combine a traitor, a psychopath, and a group of ruthless mercenaries? If you answer trouble, then you're right. But you also get Kane Lynch Dead Men, a story-driven third-person tactical cover shooter. Is this combination a satisfying mix, or is it a clusterfuck? Kane and Lynch are both interesting characters. Kane abandoned his fellow members of a group called the Seven, thinking they were dead after a job went horribly wrong. Despite thinking they were dead, he discovers that apparently the Seven were alive and well, and now they want compensation. Lynch is their watchdog, and also a good old-fashioned medicated psychopath. Halfway through, the predicament becomes even more interesting as things take a turn for the worst. The story falls apart under close scrutiny, as evidenced by occasionally nonsensical dialogue, and can end up feeling scrapped together, but its many unexpected twists and turns, not to mention the excellent meaningful ending, make up for most of its flaws. In Kane Lynch Dead Men, you'll take cover and take out anyone stupid enough to peek out of it, but you won't do it alone. From the second mission onwards, you'll typically have teammates around to help, and the best part is, they actually help. If you point them towards a target, you can be sure they'll actually do some efforts to take out that target, and if you point them towards cover, they'll actually take cover in that spot. But the best part about them is that even when simply following you around, they'll know to take cover and fire at enemies. They aren't as effective as you are, and can occasionally get in the way of your bullets, but the fact that they're mostly useful is an achievement in itself. Unfortunately, the cover system used here is automated. If you want to take cover, you simply move into a surface or wall, and Kane will know to glue himself to that surface. But proper cover isn't available all the time, a fact made worse by the need to be very close to cover. You will occasionally end up praying Kane gets it right and actually protects himself, but thankfully that doesn't happen often enough to make you want to bang your head against the wall. Kane Lynch also has one of the best health systems in gaming. When you take too much damage, one of your teammates will give you a shot of adrenaline. While you're dying, you recount the most recent memories, a helpful reminder of what's going on. You also can't take 2 shots of adrenaline in a short time window, as you'll overdose and die. It encourages careful play without outright punishing the player, a balancing act that very few games manage. Ultimately, while playing, one revelation might strike you. In a rare feat, Kane Lynch's gameplay and narrative actually complement one another. Killing indiscriminately isn't the mark of a hero, but rather that of a murderer. A criminal whose sole purpose is his own greater gain at the expense of others. It's very rare that a game has both its mechanics and story come together as a coherent whole, yet Kane Lynch pulls this off effortlessly. The game also sells its locations really well. If there's one thing you can't knock it for, it's visual variety. Whether you're in an urban environment or the jungles of Cuba, there's plenty of life around. Tokyo in particular feels believable as crowds are actually composed of dozens of people, even if their behavior will remind you you're playing a game. Case in point, in a later level in Tokyo, you make your way out of a corporate building that's still being evacuated. The police are on the scene trying to coordinate everyone until they realize it was you causing all the trouble. They obviously start firing at you, but for whatever reason they don't seem to care all that much that they're shooting civilians as well, while the civilians themselves run at absolute random. Kane Lynch looks good, but sound is even better. The music is dark and brooding, complementing the dark atmosphere perfectly. And while the dialogue does go overkill on the profanities, it's intentional, as you're supposed to hate these people as much as society itself does. Kane Lynch Dead Men isn't without flaws, but it's one of the few genuinely plausible action games to see the light of day. Not only does it provide solid action and teammates that actually help, but also a far better reason to why you're shooting other people. If you aren't averse to the idea of playing an irredeemable criminal, it's time to get back at society.